You know, when it comes to Transformers Generation 1, there's been a lot of things that were done in the stories that were kind of questionable. I mean, overall, the show definitely proved to be one of the best adaptations of a toy franchise, comic book franchise in history. I mean, its legacy is still felt to this day, with various interpretations of Transformers, throughout the years and throughout the decades. But if there was one thing Transformers did that really surprised a lot of people, was how they implied romance, or inserted romance, I should say, into the stories. Now, it's common to see Spike get a girlfriend who would become his wife later on, and Carly, or yeah, Carly, if you will. And, that's one thing. That's common, and you would expect something like that, to happen for a human character like Spike. But when it comes to like the Transformers, like the Autobots, you wouldn't expect it. But in season 2, we pretty much got that. I mean, we got basically the official acknowledgement of Alita and Optimus, being a couple. The implied relationships that once were between Ironhide and Chromia and Powerglide and Moonracer and Inferno and Firestar, we got that. But what was even more interesting, though, is, and more intriguing, and I think really stand outish, if you will, was the romance that was implied, if not pretty much straightforward in your face, between Autobots and humans. Yeah. And the reason I bring this up is because somebody at one of the Facebook group pages, fan group pages that is, you know, started a topic where they talked about the whole relationship between Daniel Witwicky, who is, I should say, Spike and Carly's son in the future, and the female Autobot Arcee. And the reason they brought this up is because they seem to notice that throughout the movie, the '86 movie, and throughout parts of season 3 and then into season 3.5, aka the 4th season, aka the rebirth season, final season, if you will, that they seem to, they seem to acknowledge or imply or hint at the fact, the show that is, that there was something more between Daniel and Arcee than just a friendship or just a relationship of guardian protector and to human companion, stuff like that. And Rebirth, the final 3 episodes of the G1 here in the States, officially seem to really push that envelope by basically pretty much coming out and saying that Spike and not Spike, but Daniel and Arcee are now more than just friends. They're more than just protector, guardian, human companion. That they're now, as strange as it sounds, boyfriend, girlfriend. And this is pretty much implied, or at least hinted at, throughout the 3 episodes. Like, when Daniel asked his dad how he did when he and Hot Rod won a race against Blur. Spike says he did fine, but Arcee verbally steps over, or steps on Spike's toes and corrects him by saying, "No, Daniel, you did great." And she says it very enthusiastically. And if that's not all, you have Daniel nearly sacrificing his life to save her from an attack by the Decepticons on the planet Nebulos. And then, he's bonded to her as her partner, if you will, making her a headmaster for, I think, a temporary time. And then you have him basically at the end trying to tell Arcee he loves her, and she says, "You don't have to say anything, Daniel, I feel the same way." And, the reason this person brought this up is because they kind of found it a little weird and strange that, Hasbro, Marvel, Sunbow, if you will, would allow, this kind of acknowledgement or this kind of implication to be done, between, from a romantic standpoint, between Daniel and Arcee, a human and an Autobot. But what this person doesn't realize, and I had to point this out in a comment, and I'm surprised nobody replied to the comment here, is, like I said, this is not the first time, that you've had romance, suggested between a human and an Autobot. There have been, several occasions before that. In fact, if you go back to season 2, there's an episode called "The Girl Who Loved Powerglide," and literally, it focuses on a human girl in love with Powerglide, and he has feelings for her. So, and I think it ends with her riding with him into the sky or something like that. Very similar to another ending to another episode called Sea Change, where basically SeaSpray falls in love with this mermaid or merfolk woman called Alana, and he uses this magical shape-shifting transformation pool to become a temporary merman himself. So he becomes kind of basically human, or sort of human, if you will. And then towards the end, to kind of combat the Decepticons who are trying to steal the power, or steal the power from this place. It's like an Atlantis kind of place or area. Not only does SeaSpray go back into this transformation pool to revert back to being his Autobot self, but Alana goes and turns herself temporarily into a female Autobot as well, because she's in love with SeaSpray, because she's fallen in love with SeaSpray, and vice versa. And what's crazy is, now that she's an Autobot temporarily, just like SeaSpray can change into a motorboat, if you will, she basically, her transformation is into a gondola, if you will, a gondola boat. And she comes equipped, a gondola boat form with lasers. So yeah, she shoots lasers in her robotic form, or at least a gondola form, if you will. But it does end with her, changing back, but her telling SeaSpray that it doesn't matter if she's now human, if you will, or at least sort of in a human state. It's not going to change how they feel about each other, and she rides on top of him off into the sunset to end the episode. And I bring this up, mainly, I bring these two episodes up from season 2 because, again, this is, the Arcee Daniel relationship that this person brought up in their topic here on the Facebook group pages, which one of them, which the one I'm talking about is what I'm going to probably share this video as well. Him bringing this up, him bringing up the relationship, I should say, the implied romance between the two. Again, it's not the first time. It's not the first time it has happened. And as a matter of fact, when you look at future Transformer projects, like even Transformers Prime, it's pretty much implied that there was something going on there as well. Like, I think one of the main human characters that aligned with them, that became, a partner, if you will, of that version of Arcee, that the bond between them became more than just a friendship and a partnership. So, again, it's not the first time, this has happened, nor will it be the last. And what I mean by the first time it will basically, this is not the first time it would happen, that being Daniel and Arcee. Like I said, it's not going to be the last, because, like I said, we've seen it beforehand with, Alana and SeaSpray, and I can't think of the girl's name, but her and Powerglide. And then, of course, like I just mentioned, later on with the Transformers Prime version of Arcee and her human companion. It's not the first time, and it's definitely not going to be the last. So, when I see somebody, bring this up, basically, in a topic, to me it's like, yeah, you have a point in being kind of like caught off guard by this, because, you find it kind of weird and strange that they would, imply a romance between a human character, human teen, a preteen kid, whatever you want to call him, and Daniel, and this Autobot in Arcee. but you have to realize it's not the first time. And like I said, it won't be the last. Because, if there's, like I said, if there's anything about Transformers, is the fact that, as far as Hasbro and Marvel and Sunbow were concerned, and even the ones behind Transformers Prime, basically, romance knows no boundaries. It knows no age. It knows no race. And in this case, it knows no boundaries between species. So it's again, it's not the first time, and it's definitely not going to be the last. I mean, one of the things I bring up a lot here on my channel when I talk about Hasbro stuff or Hasbro related properties is MLP. MLP Generation 4, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and the relationship between Spike and Rarity, and everybody pretty much saying that can't happen, that's not right, and all that, but yet you have so many moments, more so than anybody wants to admit about or acknowledge, between the two, in the near 9 seasons, 10 if you count the comics, of the show, that it's pretty much implied that something happened between them, especially, when you look at the final episode, if you catch my drift. But yeah, Hasbro, like I said, is no stranger to doing this. And especially no stranger to letting those that adapt and animate or write up comic book versions of their properties, they're no stranger in allowing that kind of stuff to happen. As long as it's nothing really official, but it's implied to the point that, yeah, it's pretty much, confirmed to be canon somewhat. But like I said, it's not officially, made official, for reasons like toy sales and all that, if you catch my drift, then, yeah, it's going to keep happening no matter what. It's going to keep happening no matter what. So, as far as, like I said, as far as this person bringing up the Daniel Arcee relationship, like I said, it's not the first time and it's not going to be the last. As far as Transformers goes, when implying a romance between a human and an Autobot, whether it's a male Autobot and a female human, or a male human and a female Autobot. So, it's not the first time, nor is it going to be the last. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts on the live chat during the premiere. I do apologize if I was stumbling on my words. It is late. I'm trying to drink some Coke to keep me going before I go to bed. So I can get through some of these videos that I might do. Besides this one. So again, I do apologize for that. Basically just stumbling over the words. Let me know what your let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. And I am out.